Hey guys, it's Connor, and today we're going to take a look at a few effects and overlays that can take your videos to the next level. So much of what we do as filmmakers is focused on what actually happens on set, but there's a whole world of possibilities available to us in the editing room as well. And one way of accessing that world is by looking at overlays and effects that we can put on our videos to make them stand out and make them a little bit more unique. Things like lens flares, film burns, film grain, and way more. Today we're going to look at Lens Effects 1 and 2 from CinePacks, and these are packages designed to give you a lot of these effects in an easy to use and pretty affordable package as well. Now these are paid products, but if you're on a $0 budget or you just want to try these out before you commit to the full price, CinePacks has a ton of free packs on their website that are samplings of their full products. All you have to do is head to the website, pick the ones that you want, enter your email, and they'll just deliver them right to your inbox for you to try out. Full disclosure, I did receive these products for free from CinePacks. However, we have no agreement that prevents me from sharing my honest opinions, and that's exactly what I intend to do. I'm never going to make a video where I'm restricted from sharing my honest opinions about the product. I'm going to start by showing you what's included in these packs, how to use them, and finally, what my opinion is and how I feel about these specific products. The lens effects packs focus more on glass effects that are similar to what you'd see if you were using a prism in front of the lens or other tools to manipulate how light enters your lens and creates these cool refractions and effects. There's two sets of files in the lens effects packs, and one is just standard overlays you can use anywhere on your footage, and the second is a folder dedicated to transitions that you can use to cut between two clips seamlessly. I really enjoy messing with prisms and different kinds of things in front of the lens to get really unique effects, but it's not always practical for me to do so. Sometimes I'll have a really critical shot that requires a lot of handheld motion and I'm pulling focus at the same time. And if I want to put a prism in front of that, it's going to be really difficult to control all of that. But I get the best of both worlds by using these effects in editing, because then I can just focus on nailing my movement and nailing my focus, and I can put these effects in after the fact. Here I've got some footage that I think would go really well with this pack because I'm shooting against a really bright window, so it makes sense that there'd be some sort of flares or cool lens effects when shooting into such a bright source. So I've got a flare picked out here that I really like. Just sort of fades in, has a little bit of color, and then just fades out. It's really nice and subtle, but pretty natural looking. So we're going to drag this onto our footage, and right away you're going to see that all we see is the flare. There's nothing else, and that's because we just need to change the blend mode. Any editor where you can change the blending mode of a clip, these are going to work on. We're going to click on the clip and change the blend mode to screen. You can experiment with these. There's a ton of different blend modes that give different effects, but I like screen as a go-to for these. Now if we look at the before and after, this clip is a lot more interesting to watch. It looks like a pretty natural effect. It doesn't look fake unless you know that it was an effect. It just looks like a little bit of fun enhancement to the video that makes it stand out. Now one advantage to using these overlays is that I can modify them however I want. I can change the color of them, I can make them brighter or darker, which is something I can't do if they're baked into my footage because I did it on set. So let's look at this effect here. I've got a nice overlay that I think goes really well with this footage, but it's really this bright white overlay and everything behind him is blue. It just seems really out of place to have this white flare or glass effect when all the light around us is blue. So what I can do is go in here into my effects controls, and I've put on an instance of Lumetri color and just changed the color temperature to be a lot more blue. And now it blends in a lot better and looks a lot more convincing. So if you look at the before and after, the blue seems a lot more realistic because it feels like it's actually reacting to the light that's on set. Here's another example of that where I've got these orange lights, but this white flare effect from the pack that just doesn't really fit. However, if I put Lumetri color on and change them to match the color of the lights, now they look a lot more realistic because again, they're reacting to the light that's actually in the scene. So it sells the effect a lot more and it's way more convincing. This is something that I couldn't do with a prism if I used it on set. I can't change that, I can't modify it. Here's an example of one of the transition overlays that's available in these packs as well. It's got this nice bright shine to it and just blends seamlessly into the next shot. It's a lot more interesting than watching it just go from one shot to the next. In the second lens effects pack, they got a little more creative. We've got some colored flares and some cool things like this police light look, which works really well for something like a hip hop music video. As you've just seen, there's a ton of options here, and it's really, really easy to work with. It's just drag and drop, change the blending mode, and you've got this really nice, convincing, high quality effect that you've added to your footage to make it way more interesting and just pop right off the screen. As I mentioned before, these were given to me for free, but I have full permission to share my honest opinion, and I'm gonna do just that. First and foremost, you get a ton of effects in these packs, which I really appreciate. There's anywhere between 30 to 40 in a pack, and that's a ton of flexibility, a lot of options, and on top of that, they divide it up into normal overlays and ones that are dedicated to being transitions. So no matter what pack you buy, you've got options for a ton of different applications. I'm not a super heavy user of Prism and glass effects, but it's really important that when I do want to pull that off, that I'm able to do so and have the flexibility to get it done exactly how I want to. So being able to have these effects and do them in editing means, as I mentioned before, I can just focus on getting the shot right on set and worry about the Prism and glass effects later, while still having lots of control and flexibility. If you wanted to get some sort of Prism effect on something like a drone or a crane shot, you would be completely out of luck doing that without something like lens effects. So it's really helpful to be able to get these effects no matter what rig you're using or what budget you have. You can still get these effects that physically would not be possible if you wanted to get a Prism effect on a drone shot. The video quality of these overlays are also really nice. 4K is really standard, so that's not really anything special, but what I really appreciate is that this is in an uncompressed ProRes codec. A lot of these overlay packages that you can buy online are compressed MP4s or some other sort of container, so you're already getting a compressed format before you even put it on your video. So these are the best quality that you can get straight out of the gate, and I really appreciate that they've thought ahead to make sure that you can use these on projects of any quality. All of that being said, I do have two small issues with this pack that I think could be pretty easily fixed, but also fairly easily overlooked. The first is that these are not well labeled. All of these files are just a string of numbers, and that doesn't really help me when I'm working quickly. It'd be much easier if you could label them somehow, even if it's just a simple flare 1 through 40. It's a lot easier for me to remember, oh man, I really like using number 27, than it is for me to try and remember, I like 10185997.mov. The second issue I have is that there is some issues with noise on some of these overlays. The good news is that it's not much, it's not huge, and at the end of the day, you're not going to be using these overlays on every single second of a video, adding all of this noise in. But the other good news is that you can get rid of this really easily. I just put the Gaussian blur effect over top and just set it to like 10, and it basically disappeared. So it's really not a big deal. No one's gonna notice 99% of the time, even if I didn't put that effect on, but it's just something to be aware of. Both of these issues are fairly small and really easy to fix, so I do think that they're more nitpicks than anything. I wouldn't worry too much about this. If you're worried about buying one of these packages, I do think they're still really worth the price. Speaking of the price, I do think it is quite reasonable, considering if I wanted to create all of these effects myself, I'd have to invest a couple $100 at least just to get all the tools to create these, then spend hours creating them. I might have to spend even more if I wanted them in 4K ProRes, because my camera doesn't shoot that, so I might have to go rent or buy a new camera in order to do it. So $35 a pack is really reasonable for everything that you're getting. It's going to make your life so much easier. You've unlocked a lot more possibilities, and it's given you a lot more flexibility when it comes to adding these effects into your videos. All in all, I can't help but recommend these. I really do think it's a great price for what you're getting, and all the options it unlocks for you, your ability to make your videos stand out, make them more unique, save time on set. It's really hard for me to not recommend these. And I have to say kudos to both Tyler and Andy at CinePacks. You guys are killing it, and I really look forward to seeing what else you guys release in the future. If this interests you at all, check out the link in the description to go buy these or check out what else they have on offer. Right now they're running the Cine5 promo code, which means you get $5 off your first purchase, and the more packs you buy, the bigger discount is going to be applied on checkout. I hope to be getting their Super 8 overlay pack really soon, and as soon as I do, I'll be sure to do a review of that for you guys as well. But until then, I really appreciate you guys watching. If you feel like this video helped you out, I'd really appreciate you helping me back by liking, subscribing, all that stuff that you already know how to do. And until then, I will see you in the next video.